Woo! What's up, guys? Press Sports here, man. You guys just got through watching preseason basketball. Now, I don't put too much stock in preseason basketball because it doesn't have really much value at all. I mean, it has lesser value than a regular season game, lesser value than a All-Star game. Well, I would say probably an All-Star game and preseason are almost same amount level of value. But what I did get from these preseason games was my first team that I'm impressed with is probably the Houston Rockets. John Wall looked like he didn't miss the step. His athletic ability is still there. He's quick. He has an explosive lift towards the basket. And DeMarcus Cousins wasn't too shabby out there neither. Now, he was a little bit slow. DeMarcus Cousins was a little bit slow. But I'm very impressed with John Wall. yeah, Zach. I'm just actually talking about them right now. I'm talking about those two dudes right now because they're the team that I'm most impressed with. John Wall's athletic ability seems there. Now, if you're the Houston Rockets, you got John Wall. You got a good young core with Eric Gordon. What's the dude? Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall. I like that. I like the direction that they're going. If James Harden really wants out, trade him. You can go and get yourself Ben Simmons or something. I think Philly would give the best trade option for James Harden. All you have to do is all you have to do is trade James Harden to Philly for Ben Simmons and a couple other pieces. At least you get another All-Star. So you have John Wall, Ben Simmons, DeMarcus Cousins. The future will be pretty good. I mean, don't overlook this Houston Rocket team. I didn't see him stop ball movement because the D'Antoni system sucks. They actually played defense. They moved the ball around. It wasn't no ISO basketball. No guy was holding on to the ball forever. So I think that was perfect. So if you're a Houston Rockets fan, I know you are, Zach. You should be happy that your team is looking good. I don't know if you're still posting in here because it's coming a little yay. Ooh, Tyler Hero's good. If you get Tyler Hero, I won't ask for more, though, because James Harden is worth more, okay? Even though James Harden wants to leave the Houston Rockets, he's still a top 5 to some people or a top 10 player in the league. You got to get more for James Harden. It's James Harden we're talking about. We're not talking about no slouch. He's a great player. So you're going to need to get more. I say Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, go a little veteran presence in Iguodala. You can get a lot because the Miami Heat could offer a lot too. So Miami Heat and Philly could offer the most. If you want a stacked team, a team that's deep, because you could build your team around John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. If they anything to their old self, you got yourself 2 All-Stars anyway. So why not go out and get Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson? Finesse the Miami Heat. You should finesse the Miami Heat because don't let them get away with murder and taking James Harden for less. Even though Harden wants to leave. But if I'm Harden, I would probably rethink my situation. Why would you want to leave a team that looks like they're pretty good? You know what? You don't want to play in that system. You don't want to give the ball up because he knows he's going to have to give the ball up. Yeah, the Heat is deep. They went to the finals last year. And, hey, with Jimmy Butler and James Harden in the Eastern Conference, they definitely be a contender. They could go out and get replaceable parts. All they got to do is just get some three-point shooters. And you could find three-point shooters anywhere in the NBA. All you got to do is find some decent role players. That's replaceable. Tyler Hero is replaceable, though. So is Duncan Robinson. That's why I said you need to get more. Yeah, he was playing good. I think the Rockets won this trade against Russell Westbrook. You got rid of a selfish basketball player that holds on to the ball. I mean, people says John Wall holds on to the ball a lot. That he's selfish too. But just from the looks of that one regular season game, he looked like he was playing in a team system. If they could continue to play like that, they'd be a good team. You're looking at a potential 4 to 5 seed, you know, with James Harden leaving the West, it's going to get depleted a little bit, and the East is going to get stronger. So you got yourself a good team in the Houston Rockets, Zach. With or without James Harden, you still got yourself a good team. But if I'm James Harden, I would jump aboard. Why you need to go and play with Jimmy Butler? Why can't you just win with John Wall? Oh yeah, Lakers and Clippers. I want to talk about that one too. So now that I'm off the Rockets, Lakers and Clippers. You played Kawhi Leonard and Paul George for a couple amount minutes, and they still couldn't beat the Los Angeles Lakers. That show you how deep the Lakers was. They got what's that dude? I forgot his name now. He was a rookie from last year. Lakers redrafted him, and he played good. He dropped 19. I think it's Corin Tucker or something like that. I forgot his name. I know exactly who he is. I just forgot his name. It's not clicking right now. But he played good. He scored 19. Montrezl Harrell was giving Serge Ibaka the business. He's a great low post player. He came out and attacking the Clippers like there was no tomorrow. Man. And the Clippers played Paul George for 14 minutes and Kawhi Leonard for 14 minutes. You would think that they could at least beat the Lakers. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So I said Tucker. I forget his first name. That guy is he's a solid player. I mean, he's not going to turn your team around, but you give him some playing time. He scored 19. All you got to do is give him some playing time, and he could do some things. Yeah, John Wall jersey, man. I may get that little blue Houston Rockets one because I like collecting jerseys. So he may be on my list for a blue Houston Rockets jersey because I'm a basketball fanatic. I buy just about anything basketball represent for anything sports, really. No bias, just whatever I see. If I like something, I like it. But, yeah, the Lakers looking deadly. This is without Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They look like a playoff team without those guys. They remind me of what the Clippers were before Paul George and Kawhi Leonard got there. Now that you add 2 All-Stars, they almost unbeatable. Oh no, not on today, man. Today is Rick and Morty. I had the KD jersey on yesterday for the other screen. I think you missed that one. That was the one with Kyrie Irving. But speaking of Kyrie Irving, they play tomorrow. I want to see how Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving play. I hope they play tomorrow. I don't have the full update if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will be seeing action tomorrow, but I hope they play. And Lakers and Clippers are again tomorrow. So that's a good matchup. It's always fun to see Lakers and Clippers. And of course, LeBron and AD won't be playing. They're going to do lots of load management because they was complaining about playing this season this early. Another team that I wasn't impressed with, a player. O.B. Toppin. He reminds me of Amari Stoudemire out there. He was playing just like Amari Stoudemire. And I was like, oh, the Knicks just got Amari Stoudemire back. So it's good to see that the Knicks got a good young core. All we got to do is continue drafting, and we'll be a good team for the future. Oh, okay. Good. And I got something to watch. I hate preseason games for one reason is they take away some players. Some guys just don't want to play because it don't mean nothing to them. And to me, the preseason should mean something. It should mean something. And I like to see that matchup. I like to see those guys play. And they'll be playing against the Washington Wizards, Russell Westbrook. So Westbrook versus KD is always fun to watch. Yeah, oh my God, LaMelo Ball. I'm glad you brought him up. He went 0 for 5. Another terrible ball player. I mean, this guy, LeVar Ball, he hypes up his kids, and they all amount to just being role players. Not a single one has mounted to be an all-star yet. They're just role players at the best. And some of them don't even belong in the league. D'Angelo Ball don't belong in the league. And LaMelo Ball may not be an NBA material neither. Remember, he was supposed to get drafted a couple years back. and he never was able to make it. You know, a lot of teams felt like he wasn't NBA material. Now you see why. And Lonzo Ball, he could be on the trade block sooner or later anyway. I mean, nobody wants Lonzo Ball because he's too squeaky, and he's yet to be an all-star yet. But Brandon Ingram was an all-star last year. You know, go figure. So, yeah, I'm not impressed with the Ball family, or not a single person in that family basketball-wise. They seem to have more talk than action, and you know, I'm not about that. So, I I feel sorry for Michael Jordan. Once again, Michael Jordan clowned himself. Michael Jordan is a bad GM. For a great basketball player, he sure can't scout talent. Nobody, if you want to mess up your franchise, put Michael Jordan in your office. This guy can't see talent if it bit him on the back. He got to get back into a rhythm, man. He hasn't really played all year long, you know. And when he did play last year, it was just here and there. So the Warriors got some work to do. They got to get back in shape. They got to get their groove back. But they're still a scary team. You know, they got the number 2 draft pick. They went out and got now I forget the other dude's name from the Phoenix Suns. What the hell is this guy's name? Let me see if it kicked back to me. Oh my God. Now I just forgot his name. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. Yeah, he got traded to the Warriors too. After Klay Thompson got hurt, they picked him up. Damn. Now I can't remember the other dude's name. But with James Wiseman, Steph Curry, you still got Draymond to have some good guys around them. Andrew Wiggins got to step up a little more, you know, but they got a solid team. The Warriors should make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, then they're tanking for another high draft pick. And it's just simple as that, you know. But they should definitely make the playoffs. With the talent that they got, they should make the playoffs. They still got enough to make the playoffs. Ooh, that's tricky. That's tricky. Now, if you take Klay Thompson, who's a question mark, I don't know how he's going to be when he's comes back. But if he anything close to the old Klay Thompson, if you're the Houston Rockets, you would take him. And James Wiseman has all-star potential. He's a good player. You know, he has potential of being Rookie of the Year. Why not? And if I'm the Houston Rockets, I take that in a heartbeat. You know, it's a gamble, but then again, John Wall was a gamble, and look how that turned out. He seems to be in good shape. Wait, are you saying that's his name? Nicola? Nicola. I don't think that's his name. It's the other dude with the braids in his hair. He shoots with his left hand. He played on the Phoenix Suns, and they traded him. Then the other team took him. Then the Warriors took him. I just can't remember his name right now. Damn. Light-skinned brother with the braids in his hair. You know. Man, I don't know why I forget these dudes' names sometimes. But he averages 15 points a game when he was over at the Phoenix Suns. So there's no reason why he shouldn't average 15 with the Warriors. He should be. Steph Curry has enough help. He's a first-time ever unanimous MVP. So why not take that team you got to the playoffs? You got more than enough talent, and you got a couple double-digit scorers with you. No excuses. You should still make the play. Yeah, Kelly Oubre. That's who it is. I know. Man, some of these dudes, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just today a little bit, you know. I'm hot. Weather gets to you, so you start forgetting sometimes. But yeah, Kelly Oubre Jr. That's what I'm talking about. So him on your starting lineup, you have Draymond Green, Kelly, Andrew Wiggins, Steph Curry, and James Wiseman. You got a good starting 5. You can make a new Golden State Warriors with that team if you keep those guys and develop them, because the Warriors are good at developing talent. No, I didn't see that. I kind of missed a lot of preseason action today. I'll be honest with you, I missed a lot of it. I was busy running errands. I'm in another country right now, so I can't really get to watch the games the way I want to watch them or cover them the way I want to cover them. But I'm going to be there for the Brooklyn Nets game and see how that pop off. And see if that's a good game. But I mean, elbow to the face, Giannis should be all right. You know, I guess you're gonna have to miss the rest of the preseason. You know, just ice that up a little bit and get back on the court. You should have no complaints. You're a grown man. We all tuck elbows and got hurt playing sports sometimes. You know, suck it up. Yeah, man. But what other teams are you guys impressed with in preseason so far? No, I like my young Knicks. So, oh, that's a tricky one because the East is so tricky. Um, it could be a number of teams. I think it's a little too early for me to tell. Um, if I'm just going to take a wild guess, if I assume KD is KD, um, I'm going to pick the Brooklyn Nets. You know, with non-media talking Kyrie Irving. And Damian Leonard, he dissed Kyrie Irving on social media. He called Kyrie Irving K-Bra, basically saying Kyrie Irving was feminine and he complains a lot and he whines. You know, according to Kendrick Perkins, um, Kyrie Irving was jealous of LeBron James because of the pull LeBron James had. So, but we all know Kyrie Irving's been jealous of LeBron James. You know, he's starting to come to Isaiah Thomas to LeBron. He's the Isaiah Thomas to LeBron James, just like how Isaiah Thomas is to Michael Jordan. He's always hating on Jordan. Well, Kyrie Irving will always be hating on LeBron James. No matter what, he's always going to be jealous of that guy. Yeah, Kyrie does annoy a lot of people, but then he gets mad. And after he admits that he does stupid stuff. He even apologized for some of the stuff that he said, but then flips his word and acts like he didn't do nothing wrong. And of course, we're going to call you out when you keep saying stupid stuff. So that's your fault, you know. I don't get that guy sometimes, man. I just think he probably says stuff to catch attention, you know. He claims that he's so good he doesn't need a coach. You know, I guess he could run his own plays. You know, now you're a coach now. You know, you want the same treatment as LeBron. You want to be GM. You know, you want to control who comes on the Brooklyn Nets or who doesn't. So, it's the same guy that had an all white girl party, but now you Mr. Pro Black. So all of a sudden now you down for the cause. I don't understand that guy, man. People like that just, I don't know, man. You just gotta stay away from dudes like that. You know, really weird. And him and KD is like a recipe for disaster, if you ask me, because their personalities is very the same. They got that hater gene. They both hate LeBron. So maybe they could share that. They got that in common. But I don't know how is that going to play out. Yeah, I mean Harden with Joe Embiid, but James Harden don't work too well with bigs. I think James Harden is better with another perimeter player, like a point guard or small forward that could score. But this would be a challenge for James Harden to play with a big. Your second best player be a big, and you guys would have to fight over who team it is. You know, somebody got to be the number one, either Embiid or James Harden got to be the number one. Embiid may still feel like he's the number one because, he never left the team, and James Harden would be just coming to that team. So somebody have to hand over the keys. They can't be two number ones. Everybody has to play their role. Somebody got to be a number two. Somebody got to be a number one. That's how basketball goes. You got your number one, then you got your sidekick. So, but yeah, man. Who else played? Oh yeah, the Toronto Raptors played today. I didn't get to see that game, so maybe y'all could tell me how they look if they won. Um, Clippers, they're not that scary no more. They don't look like a scary basketball team. I don't know. They just look like something's missing. They still need a true point guard. Clippers need a point guard like how James Harden wants to leave the Rockets. That's how bad the Clippers need a point guard. Yeah, see, but if you get Ben Simmons, you you could do two things if you get Ben Simmons. You could have Ben Simmons run the point because he can't shoot, but he could attack the basket. So if you want Ben Simmons to be your true point guard and let John Wall move over to being the scoring guard, you could do that because John Wall could get buckets. So you could do that, or you could switch it around. You could tell Ben Simmons, hey, we want you to play the 4, or we want you to play the 3. You could be a point forward, like LeBron James is. So you could do something like that. But if I was the Houston Rockets, there's plenty of ways you could utilize Ben Simmons. Put him at the 3, let him be the point forward, or let him be the slasher towards the rim, and you can still keep the ball in John Wall's hands if you want to do that way. Because one thing about Ben Simmons, he's not going to take a lot of shots. He's going to pass the ball. Ricky Rubio would be good. Ricky Rubio would be good for the Clippers. But the Clippers don't got a true point guard. They got a feisty point guard in Pat Bev. But he don't know how to run the point. He just knows how to get on people's nerves. What up, Tay? I know you was going to come out talking. Yeah, Toon's probably hurting. But, hey, you guys play the Lakers tomorrow. So it's definitely a rematch tomorrow. Let's see how that comes out. And I would say it was kind of scary that Kawhi – check this out, Tay. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George played 14 minutes each. You would think with your starters in there that they could blow the game out. They still didn't do it. That's kind of a red alert for the Clippers. Yeah, Lakers look scary. I mean, they stacked the deck, and this is what I'm keep telling you. As much as the media tries to promote LeBron James as the GOAT, he played with so many talent. I mean, what do you expect? Right now, as we speak, LeBron James has played with 6 Hall of Famers. And the rest of the guys are questionable Hall of Famers. But there's 6 for sure Hall of Famers LeBron James played with already. Michael Jordan only played with 2. There's only 2 guys that played with Jordan that went to the Hall of Fame. Only 2. LeBron is at 6 already. So you tell me who played with more talent. Kawhi had 3 points. Oh, my God. Kawhi Leonard's falling off the map. Yeah, I mean, that's just how he gets down, man. He likes stacking the deck. What made last year's championship a little more respectable because he had AD and role players, right? Now he got 2 6-man of the year candidates. He got the guy that won 6-man of the year and the guy that came 3rd place in Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder averaged 18 points a game. You know how many double-digit players that's on the Lakers? And they're not done yet. God knows who else they may get within the season. They're just good at making moves. They take a lot of top talent, And they didn't lose anything. They still got Kyle Kuzma, who averages 13 points a game. He's going to dip down because he's playing with LeBron. Everybody can't have the ball. So some people are going to have to come off the rock a little bit. But one thing for sure, the Lakers win with a lot of talent. LeBron wins with a lot of talent. He won all his championships with major talent. Dwayne Wade was a top 5 player. Anthony Davis got ranked number 2 by ESPN, the 2nd best player in the world. And number 1 is LeBron. So the Lakers got 2 of the best players in the world. Yeah, it was a good pickup. Very smart. Yeah, take your hat off to Rob Pelinka for doing a good job. They finessed the OKC Thunder. You know, they gave him kibbles and bits, and in return they got gold, 14-karat gold back. Damn. Kawhi Leonard's starting to get scary. Maybe that knee is gonna break. I don't know. Yeah, I think Kawhi Leonard's gonna request a trade too, but it's his fault that the Clippers are like that because he went out of his way to get Paul George. He said, "I won't sign with the Clippers if you don't get Paul George." So that's kind of his fault. He should have stayed on Toronto. You won a championship. That means you were one of the best teams in the East. Why would you give that up? You would have had a free chance to go to the finals again. You could have met LeBron James in the finals. Silly rabbit tricks off your kids. That's what you get. That's kind of karma. He had everything he needed in Toronto to get to the finals again. But instead, you thought the grass was greener in LA. And look what happened to you. Should have stayed exactly where you at. And the Clippers should have stayed exactly the way they were because they were moving better than they're moving now with Kawhi Leonard. They were on a better track with those decent role plays. Then you just add like one all-star there. They have been better. So sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That may be for James Harden too, because you're gonna get karma. It's wrong for you to force a franchise to trade you. The Houston Rockets have bent over backwards, giving James Harden whatever he wanted. It's not their fault that you can't get along with Dwight Howard. You couldn't get along with Chris Paul. You couldn't get along with Russell Westbrook. That's your own friend, and you guys didn't want to play with each other no more. So now you understand what I'm talking about, Zach. So you're a Houston Rockets fan. How would you feel that you guys gave everything to one player, catered to his every need, and then he just bounced like that? That's kind of corny. He said, nah, first round exit. Yeah, it depends who they face. You know, Rockets could give the Clippers some problems. The way they look. You know, I mean, as much as good as James Harden is, you may like him as a fan, but you got to admit it's unprofessional to not go to practice, to spend time in clubs. You know, fulfill your contract. You got one more year left. Play it out. Then you could leave. If you leave as a free agent, nobody can say nothing about it. But the fact that you try to force your way out is kind of corny. The fact that Kyrie Irving doesn't want to do media interviews, the rest of the players are going to look at that and be like, hey, I don't want to do them either. It's in my contract. I signed it, but let me disobey and let me start making my own rules. Pretty soon, the NBA is going to be a full players league where the players do whatever they want, whenever they want. It's going to be no order. If Paul George go to the Lakers, I'd be laughing my butt off. You know, and he got 2 more years. Hey, man, instead of trying to force them to trade you every 2 minutes, just go and play, man. You get paid money to go and play basketball. You know, you should know something was wrong when he turned down that big contract. That's a lot of money to turn down. So anytime somebody turns down that much money, same way Anthony Davis did for the Pelicans, you already know they was leaving. But there's no way this guy is going to stay with our franchise if he turned down this much money. So we already know James Harden is out the door. So if Houston Rockets, you got yourself a unpleasant situation. Just trade the guy and get it over with because you're just going to keep making more drama for your franchise. And he's going to be a locker room disaster because he's not going to be happy. And the rest of those guys are going to try to win. They want to win now. So you're going to get a guy that's grumpy, disgruntled, and it's going to kill your chemistry. You know, it just is what it is. Beverly hit the side of the backboard. Oh, crap. Man, yeah, that whole rivalry with LA Clippers and Lakers. I mean, it's fun when you live in Los Angeles, but I don't know, man. It's getting to a point where it's not even seeming like a rivalry no more, man, because the Clippers are just messing up. Yeah, and this is after he said he want to stay and retire as a Clipper. Man, Damian Leonard called him out on that and said, hey, Paul George, you capping. You know you don't want to stay for the Clippers. That's a good package, Zach, but throw one more guy in there. You got to take Duncan Robinson. Don't let the Miami Heat keep Duncan Robinson. All those guys are two of those guys are on short-term contracts. Iguodala is cheap. Um, Gordon Dragic is in the middle. You could get way more for James Harden than just those guys. Though Duncan Robinson in there, you got yourself a deal. You got to keep those two shooters. Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson has to go to the Rockets if you're going to trade him, if you're going to trade James Harden. That's a given. Then you could take the Gordon Dragic and have him come off the bench for John Wall. Then you got yourself a solid bench player. And you got a veteran in Iguodala. You know, a defensive veteran in Iguodala. Sometimes you need that on a team, that one veteran guy to make sure everybody stays in line and nobody acts a fool. Yeah, I think he does, but he's capping for the Clippers. He's said now he's been the Clippers fan his whole life. But stop lying. You just said you looked up to Kobe. So if you looked up to Kobe, how you been a Clippers fan your whole life? This is why I call guys out. Paul George capping and lying. There's no way he's a he's a Clippers fan, but he idolized Kobe. Yeah, you do. You know, James Harden come back. He's going to hold on to the ball for a long time, and it's going to be chemistry problems with him and John Wall. It's definitely going to be chemistry problems because James Harden going to want to get his numbers. Yeah, I know he was a Lakers fan, but he's capping the saying he was a Clippers fan the whole time. Yeah, better ball movement. I like what I seen. And now that D'Antoni's out the picture, you got those guys running a good offense and defense. Because D'Antoni don't believe in defense. He just believes in outscoring the other team. But how could you outscore another team if you're giving up the same amount of points? It don't add up. You know, 2 + 2 = 4. But in this case, it's not a 2 + 2 scenario because you're giving up the same amount of points as you score. You know, it's a losing way of basketball. If I drop 30 on you but give up 32 points, what good is that? I still lose. Yeah. I mean, your Rockets look good. I ain't going to lie. They look good. You know, I never said there was going to be a bad team. I just said there were question marks. I have to see it to believe it. You know, so I held back my opinion to see what they got. You know, that's a smart thing to do. You never go running off in the mouth until you see the product on the actual floor. Yeah, he had a chance to be a Laker, but he shot himself in the foot, Tay. But you guys should be glad that you don't got Paul George. Aren't you glad? He's a choker in the playoffs. You think LeBron James would put up with that? He had been traded anyway because LeBron had got him traded. There's no way LeBron would be playing with no Paul George and choking like that. Be like, hey, man, you got to go. GM LeBron ain't having that. He trade the dude in a second. LeBron will trade you if you don't play up to par. You know? Yeah, make sure you're out of there. So Paul George would have been traded if he came to the Lakers anyway. You know, I think he should have stayed in Toronto. I never thought the Spurs was a good look for Kawhi, you know. But some people like you, Tay, they think Kawhi should have went back there. You know, yeah, I know you happy. He would have cost you guys a playoff series. Imagine him hitting the backboard against the Denver Nuggets. If he disappeared against the Denver Nuggets, you guys wouldn't probably won a championship because I don't know if AD would have been there, if Paul George would have been there. So you don't know how the whole situation would have played out. Now, if Anthony Davis was there with Paul George, I think most likely that still would have happened, right? So, because they did have Anthony Davis already. No, they didn't. They didn't. That was the first year LeBron was there, so they didn't have him. They would have to still trade for Anthony Davis. But I don't know if Anthony Davis would have came there. But if you had Anthony Davis, Paul George, and LeBron, then you could afford to have Paul George choke a little bit because he wouldn't have the ball like that anyway. It'd be just LeBron and Anthony Davis. He's not in the GOAT conversation because he has multiple superstars that he played with. And he didn't, the way he won his chips was like so off and on. He'd lose one year, then win the next year. It was very inconsistent. I mean, if he had like a three-peat, something like that, it'd have been different. But he does have conversation for best power forward of all time. A lot of people call him that, you know. But Tim Duncan, yes, is an all-time great. Technically, he has a better resume than LeBron James. And at least he won all his championships with one team. If you look at accomplishment from accomplishment, technically, Tim Duncan has a somewhat of a better career than LeBron James. And he beat LeBron James more times than LeBron beat him on the biggest stage there is. LeBron couldn't even beat an old man Tim Duncan. 2014, Tim Duncan waxed him, but that was mainly because of Kawhi Leonard. If you took Kawhi Leonard off the Spurs, the Heat would have won that championship because they beat that same team a year before. So you can't tell me that they weren't up to par with the Miami Heat. Well, the Miami Heat wasn't up to par with the Spurs. If you're saying that, then you're doing a cop-out for LeBron James. You can't beat a team just one season ago, meet that same team in the finals, and can't beat them. It don't go that way. Or maybe that means you just wasn't that good to beat them in the first place. Hence the Ray Allen shot. So that means you should have lost to the Spurs twice. If that's what you're saying. So if you're going to say the Spurs were that much of a better team, then that puts more of an asterisk and more of a red stain on LeBron's resume because of the Ray Allen shot. No. LeBron's a little more dominant than Kobe, but I do think Kobe is a better individual scorer and a better individual defensive player. But if Kobe beat LeBron twice, it would have changed things completely around, But that's a big debate, Kobe over LeBron. It's close. I got LeBron by a slight nose hair because I think LeBron's a smarter basketball player. He makes better decisions with the ball than Kobe. That's the major difference. I've seen times when Kobe shot the ball and two defenders were on him. He just drove the ball up to the court, double team, didn't even pass the ball to a wide open guy and just shot it. So I'm giving LeBron the edge because I think he has more basketball IQ, better basketball IQ. But I did see their individual matchups. I'm glad you brought that up. And a lot of times when LeBron was guarding Kobe, or he tried to guard Kobe, Kobe would get buckets on LeBron. If you don't believe it, just look at the 2015 game or the last game Kobe played against LeBron. I think it's 2016. Kobe was dropping buckets on LeBron. He wasn't on the better team. Cavs won, of course. But individually, Kobe was outplaying LeBron James. Without a doubt, he was outplaying LeBron James. He was hitting threes on LeBron. And that's the second time that he was busting up LeBron. Second time, because I remember him busting LeBron up in an All-Star game. Even though it's not a regular season game, it's still basketball. So that means whenever Kobe decides to guard LeBron, he could stop LeBron more times than LeBron could stop Kobe. So that says a lot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Tay. If he beat him on the biggest stage there is, which I think he would have, because LeBron had closing issues. You think Kobe was going to let LeBron James beat him? Man, you would have to kill Kobe to let LeBron James beat him. There's no way, no how Kobe Bryant was going to let LeBron James beat him. Period. Now, if LeBron couldn't guard Baby Jordan and Kobe Bryant, what makes you think that he could guard Michael Jordan? Just think about it. That's a joke. Penny Hardaway was never better than Michael Jordan. And in 1996 proved that. Michael, he had the mental edge over Penny Hardaway and the physical edge. He got to a point where Penny Hardaway was scared of Michael Jordan. And that's how intimidating Michael Jordan was. He struck fear in his opponents. The only guy that wasn't afraid of Michael Jordan was Kobe Bryant. A lot of other superstars They had fear going up against Mike. And LeBron James would have been humbled against Mike. Because you could tell now, just the way he speaks, you know, same way he speaks of Kobe, and Kobe was giving him the business. Kobe was out the window with that humble stuff. We playing basketball. I'm about to beat you. What you think Jordan would have done mentally and physically to LeBron? Jordan was a savage and very abusive. Okay? It'd have been, you had to call the cops for the amount of mental damage Jordan would have done to LeBron. If Jason Terry could flick mental damage on LeBron and the mind controls the body, what you think a guy like Jordan could have done? Jordan was a savage, man. He was a flat out savage. You know, the guy was obsessed with winning. Oh, they would have had a lot. LeBron would have been a Scottie Pippen like dude, you know. The 90s probably 7 or 8. They would have had a lot though. Definitely. Yes, I don't know about that though, Tay, because you ever heard of the Chris Paul experience? Chris Paul just gets hurt too much, you know? I don't know. If Chris Paul didn't get hurt, a feisty dog like Chris Paul with Kobe, man, that's a lot of determination. If they don't get hurt, they probably would have won. And Lakers was about to make more moves to land more players. They was going to revamp that whole roster. So that team, Kobe would have got more championships. I think he would have. You know, I agree with you. I don't know if he would have had 7 chips, but I think he would have had at least one more. He would have got. He always wanted to get 6. He always wanted to catch up to his idol. He wanted to get 6. You know. Now LeBron James has a chance to get 6, but he got 6 finals losses. So that makes him 50% in the finals compared to Michael being 100% in the finals. So which one do you think is more impressive? Yep. There you go. He would have had at least one. You know, that Detroit team was good. NBA didn't want Kobe to surpass MJ. I don't know, man. That's a conspiracy we would never find out. Yeah, he lost to Boston. You know. Yeah, he got those 2 finals losses, you know. But more times than often he won. He won 5 out of 7. That's not bad. You know, that's not bad. And both of those finals losses, Kobe came to play. I never got the sense that he quit. He played his heart out against Boston. You know, he gave it everything he had. And that's all you can ask for, win, lose, or draw. You know, even in '04, he played like a madman. So he did what he had to do. He just didn't win that. Just didn't win them seasons, you know? It's not like where you're looking at your superstar, you questioning, hey man, why you ain't attacking the basket no more? Why you passing the ball so much? What's wrong with you, man? You look lost. We have those complaints about LeBron a lot of times, you know. He said 4 and 10. Um, he been 10 times, right? Yeah, yeah, 4 and 10. Yeah, yeah, technically 4 and 6, but yeah, it's 10 times in the finals. So he won 4 out of no. I mean, yeah, no, six. Yeah, I mean, he would have to go to the finals more times to be 4 and 10. I don't know. KD surpassing LeBron, he would have to do a couple more. He had to beat LeBron a couple more times, and he would have to control the media narrative, you know. But he gave LeBron the business in arguably 2 seasons. You know that's no doubt about it. You know, when it came to 1-on-1, LeBron versus Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant was outplaying him, especially in those Golden State years. You know, now I'm not talking about team for team. I'm just talking about when they guarded each other. Kevin Durant was getting the best of LeBron James when they guarded each other. Take the teammates out of the equation. Just look at Durant and LeBron. Durant was outplaying him in LeBron's later years. LeBron's getting older. So, yeah, I don't think he could pass LeBron though. You know, Now, you can ask me who do I think going to surpass Jordan? I don't know. I haven't seen nobody yet. When I see somebody that could surpass Mike, I'd be the first one to tell you this guy is on track to surpass Mike. But that guy ain't LeBron James. You can't have 6 finals losses and all those disappointments and surpass Michael Jordan. It just doesn't go that way, you know. And Mike's career is just tramples over LeBron James in so many ways. I mean, take this for example. I'm gonna give you a good tip. I'm gonna drop some basketball education on some of you youngsters. Well, only Zach for this case. Tay may know this already. 1988, Jordan won an MVP, right? You know he had to beat 9 guys to win that MVP? Dominique Wilkins was averaging 31 points a game. Larry Bird came in second place with 29 points a game. Jordan averaged 35 points a game in 1988, shooting 50% from the field, led the league in steals. He was a beast. He had to do that just to win MVP because there was 9 other guys that was in the MVP race. It was the most stacked MVP race in NBA history. Dominique Wilkins was in it. Fat Lever, you may not know who he is, but he played for the Dallas Mavericks back then. I mean, I'm like a basketball encyclopedia. So when I tell you Jordan's career is better and more impressive, there's several examples of it. That was just one. So when you sit there and say, oh, Jordan didn't face no competition, Larry Bird's one of the greatest basketball players to pick up a basketball. Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan used to go at it with each other, 40 points a game. And Dominique Wilkins used to drop 40 points on Scottie Pippen's head. They played the same position. The only guy that could answer Dominique was Mike. That's how they went back and forth. Okay? A lot of guys was in that MVP. Karl Malone was in that MVP race. Karl Malone got, 5 MVPs? He was in that MVP race in 1988. Jordan outbeat all them dudes. Now, you tell me that's not impressive or not, compared to you just outbeating one guy. Think about it. That's some of the greatest players in basketball history, multiple Hall of Famers. John Stockton was ranked number 10. John Stockton's one of the greatest point guards in NBA history. Not be flashy, but you talking about per point guards. John Stockton was a hell of a point guard. You guys don't know this because you like downgrading people's career if you haven't seen them play, or you think they weak sauce. I think LeBron he's a better attacker of the basket than Larry Bird. But Larry Bird was way more clutch than LeBron James and just good of a passer and just as good of a rebounder as LeBron. Do some research on Larry Bird and how good Larry Bird was. Larry Bird was no pushover. And if Dirk could give LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh the business, Larry Bird definitely would have gave them the business. Larry Bird talked a lot of trash. He wasn't afraid of nobody, period. Larry Bird didn't back down from nobody. He had to be tough because he wasn't this skin color. And he often got made fun of or overlooked. And he said, you know what? F that. Give me that guy. Dominique Wilkins, you want some drama? Come and give it. Come and get it. Jordan, you want some smoke? Come and get it. Larry Bird didn't back down from nobody. That's real man-to-man basketball. Leave it all out on the floor. You don't be afraid. And you don't get that with today's players too much. They back down. They get punched in the mouth. They don't get back up no more. LeBron got punched in the mouth by Jason Terry, and his response was only 15 points a game. Mike never did that. If you knock Mike down, he gets back up and say, give me some more. LeBron would have had problems in Jordan's era. Mainly, Jordan would have got on him. The same way Jordan was scrick and mean on Scottie Pippen, he would have been the same way to LeBron James. Same guy that took Horace Grant's food because Horace Grant didn't play the good game. He took the guy's plate of food. This dude was a savage. Okay? Now, if Delonte West could mess around with LeBron's mom and LeBron didn't move furniture, didn't move chairs, he didn't went and smack Delonte West and say, hey, that's my mom's. What make you think he could stand up to Michael Jordan if he couldn't stand up to Delonte West? JJ Barea. Yeah, man, that's just a bad look, you know. And believe it or not, he got outplayed by Kawhi in 2014. It's the facts. You got outplayed by multiple guys in the finals. Go and look up the stats. Look up the numbers. LeBron got 28 points a game in that Spurs series when Kawhi wasn't guarding him. A lot of those 28 points was garbage points. The game was already decided. It was already blown out. LeBron was just in there to stat pad for extra points. That's why I told you stats aren't everything. Stats are something when they're effective towards the game for winning. You want a better example? Last year against the Miami Heat, the Lakers was about to win the championship. They up by 30 points. LeBron James is still in the game stat padding. Why you stat padding? Because you just got 15 points? You want to make sure you get the finals MVP by adding extra stats. You know, then you're showboating and you're clapping on top of the backboard. It's just showboating and stat padding. That's all that is. Jordan and Kobe didn't stat pad like that. They just played games. They don't care if they went 0 for 5. They don't care if they went 0 for 10. They're going to go out. Hey, I got to give it everything I got. If I go 0 for 10 and I hit the game-winning shot, they're happy with that. You know? I seen Jordan play some bad games, but Jordan never gave up. This is my point. Now, I never said Jordan was perfect, but he never gave up. And he didn't look for his stats. Okay, he never said, check out my stats. He didn't care about that stuff. If he got a triple-double, then he got one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Kobe was tough as rocks. You know? Kobe was a tough guy. And it's sad that we didn't get to respect Kobe the way we supposed to respect him while he was alive. You ever heard the expression, give somebody the flowers while they could still smell them? I think we all felt guilty to that, you know? Now that he's passed away, I feel real bad that I didn't give the guy the respect that he really deserved, you know? And that's a damn shame because he was one hell of a basketball player. And he was a killer by those terms, you know? Wasn't perfect, but he was still a guy that never let you down. He gave you your money's worth. I could spend money on a Kobe Bryant game knowing that he's going to give me everything he got. Well, you got to rank Wade ahead of Iverson. He got championships. You know, he got a Finals MVP. That's just how it goes. Iverson was a great player. If Iverson was a couple inches shorter, a couple inches taller, he'd be in that same conversation with like Kobe even more. You know, I hear you, but hey, the media likes comparing LeBron to MJ, and no matter how you slice it, Jordan overpowers LeBron. LeBron's still playing catch up in his 18th year. Don't you think a guy that been to the finals 10 times should at least had 6 already? Think about it. That's just with championships. How come LeBron don't get 10 scoring titles or more than one? Jordan's first team defense and defensive player of the year more times. How come is that? How come 13 years of Michael Jordan is more impressive than 18 years of LeBron James? Oh, Kawhi, he has to do a lot to surpass LeBron. He got to win some MVPs. He got to be the man on his team for a convincing amount of years. He ain't going to catch up to LeBron. Kawhi Leonard will never catch up to LeBron. So that's a debate that we can never have because Kawhi don't have enough. He don't have enough on his plate, enough on his resume to catch up to LeBron. You know, he could always make a case that he's a better defensive player, but that's about it. Probably, yeah. That makes about more sense. Let's not automatically assume that the Lakers are going to win like 3 championships. Teams get better every year. And guys sign short-term contracts. They jump on team to team. So we don't know if the Lakers going to win the championship. You got to play the games first. What if LeBron has a choking moment? What if LeBron does something, let you down? He missed a game-winning shot. You know, you don't know. You know, LeBron's still iffy to me when it comes to clutch. Now, I seen LeBron, if it's clutch moment and clutch time and LeBron got the ball, if I was a Lakers fan, I'd be nervous a little bit. I'd be like, hold on. I don't know if LeBron's going to make it. you know. But you got more insurance when certain players had the ball, like Jordan or something. You know, if Jordan had the ball in his clutch time, you trust him a little more. You know, you're like, oh, hey, it's MJ time. You know, but man, I appreciate talking to you guys. I'm about to head up out of here, man. So we're gonna catch some more games tomorrow, and we're gonna break some more games down, man. I see you guys tomorrow, man. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Tay Diggs, Tay Davis. You know, um, you guys have a nice day, man. Enjoy yourselves. Yeah, I think Lakers will repeat too, without injuries. You're right. But I'm out, y'all. Peace. Have a good one. Oh, and who else was in here? I forget the dude's name. I gotta give him a shout out because I hate leaving people. Oh yeah, Alejandro. Shout out to him, man. You know, thanks for joining too. Peace, y'all. We out.